Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching 86, Season 1, Episode 8. Last episode was phenomenal. I love Raiden. I love the piece of dialogue that he was given at the end of last episode. He was the perfect person, I think, to convey that message, even though that it was fucked up and horrifying, and that it told us that Spearhead is basically a group that's stepping up to the gallows, ready for execution. That's where I'm at.
That's literally where we're at.
I am adoring this show, don't get me wrong, but I do not have a lot of hope, and I wish I had more hope.
Okay, yeah. It's like, from the very beginning in this show, I don't know how much hope they've really given me, which obviously is probably on purpose.
Yeah.
But it is getting more and more like, oh my god, we're basically having a main character having a phone crush on a guy that's like set for execution.
The knife has been twisted like 6 times now.
His brother's head is like over there. Like,
all right.
Couldn't get worse.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Jesus, we lost 4 to a secondary goal. He found me too. I feel like the pacing just went up a million. What the fuck? Oh my god!
Good news for me, but bad news for all of you.
Hang yourself tonight before you end up dead tomorrow. That was a great transition. Jesus Christ. Look at them all. The transitions have been amazing. What do you think the response is gonna be?
Sounds like this country. If that could change minds.
Wow, what a line.
Scared of myself
for being capable of saying that. Jesus.
そうやって聖女様みたいに振る舞ってるけど、あんただって同罪よ。隣に住んでた兄弟と母親はね、不思議な力を持っていたの。でも互いの気持ちがわかるっていうね。父さんはその力に興味を持って、ここはその始まりの場所。初めはここでバテン越しの母親が何を考えているかを。
Is this how we developed the para raid?
だったけど、無線に代わる新たな通信を振られて、どんな犠牲を払ってでも実用化するよう父さんに命令してきた。あんたがつけてるレイドデバイスよ。完成までに何人の86を殺してると思う？言葉を伝えるものなんだから、動物じゃ実験にならないでしょ。
If it was Shin, is it because he told someone about the power?
86は人間じゃないって言ってたくせに都合がいいのよね。被験者は子供ばかり。結果が最優先され、安全は度外視。みんな苦しんで死んでいった。父さんはそれに耐えられなくて自殺した。事故で亡くなったんじゃ。間違えるわけないでしょ。いつも言ってた。友人をも苦しんで死ぬべきだって。それならあの子を見捨てた私も同じだから、父さんの出した犠牲ごと研究を受け継いだ。アンダーテイカーだっけ？ハンドラーが自殺したからって調査依頼が来てたでしょ。その人だけでも助けられたかもしれないけど、輸送部のクズどもが断ってくれてよかった。やっぱり何もできない。私には誰も助けられない。それはあんただって同じでしょ。何もできないどころとして長生きさせたから、そいつらは死ねって命令されるんでしょ。適当に扱われんでれば言われずに済んだことを、あんたのせいで言われるんじゃない。大嫌いよ、レーナ。二度と顔を見せないで。
What the fuck is this episode? He knows.
何の用かね。
下された特別偵察任務を撤回させてください。
だから言ったろう。必要以上に肩入れするなと。
むちゃくちゃです。死ぬまで意味もなく敵地を
86は全滅すべきだ。
Wow.
国のためになると政府。
He just said it.
市民がそう考えているのだよ。
According to its government
この国の意志
and
だ。
its people.
That's the will of the
この
nation.
戦争が終わった時、に対して行ったことが明るみに出れば、共和国は面目も信用会者としての汚名を永久に。
So it's basically to save how they're viewed in history.
だから戦死者の回収もお墓に。
彼らは全滅と同時に存在しなかったことになる。共和国は何の罪も犯していないことになる。
Jesus fucking Christ.
者はごく少数だろうが、あるいは無関心に追認した大多数とて賛同者だ。一定に従うのが我ら国軍の役目だ、レイナ。
The peoples.
クスであろうと共和国の市民です。聖女マグノリアが掲げた共和国の、それをなさずして何が共和国の意志ですか。
己の利と欲のためだけにその聖女マグノリアを処刑した愚民どもの国家に何が期待できるという。
Holy shit.
Remember when he brought up what does she really know about this country and how it was founded?
We're not ready to have freedom and equality.
正当化するだけの理屈です。この状況を黙認するのは間違いです。
そう唱えるのは自由だが、それでは誰も動かせない。だからお前は私の元に来たのだろう。絶望と希望は同じもの。
Hope and despair are the same
And
thing.
you can't have it.
その表と裏に違う名がついているだけだ。
すみません。私の力ではどうすることもできませんでした。
それはそうでしょう。
投げた命令に従う必要なんて。
Wow.
逃げてください。
どこに人はいつか必ず死にます。それが少し早いからといって。
あなたはどうしていつもそう淡々と受け入れてしまうのですか。それさえも恨まないなんて、そんな話がありますか。
俺たちは別に死にに行くのではありません。 うと思ったところまで行こうと思った道をたどっていけるんですと自由になれるというのに、それをけなさないでもらえませんか。
もう戦わないでください。
無理ですね。進むためには戦うしかありませんし。
それはお兄様を撃つためですね。
どうしてそう余計なことに気づくのですか。
わかりますよ。あなたは悲しいのに冷たく
And still laugh coldly.
お兄様のことを話すときに、お兄様となんて。
兄は羊飼いです。撃たなければどこにも行けない。
大
少佐、完成する必要はありません。
それは。
俺は兄の最後の声をあなたに聞かれたくはない。なのでもう繋いでこないでください。
Everyone's shutting her out.
国境を越えたその先でレギオンの声が聞こえなくなります。生き残っていれば助けが来るかもしれない。羊飼いが撃たれればしばらくは混乱します。その程度の時間稼ぎはしていきますから。
Oh?
だから少佐はそれまで生き延びてください。
No. Jesus, I feel like this episode's been like 50 minutes worth of content. I have chills.
ハルトのやつも惜しかったよな。もう少しで一緒に楽しいハイキングに行けたのに。
読むかな。初日ぐらい晴れがいいわよね、やっぱり。私、おまじない知ってるよ。カイヤがやってたやつ。
Oh, we could see Kaia on the top too.
最後だと思うとジジイの説教もなんだか愛しいな。
そうかしら。
He's repainting their logos. Wait, what was that?
少佐、最後は繋いでこなかったね。
なんだ、寂しいのか。
いや全然。まあちょっとくらい心残りかな。ここまで付き合ったんだし、さよなら。こっちに関わるなって散々言ったの。雇り返しただけでしょ。あれあれ、ピカピカだ。マークもバッチリ綺麗にしたよ。
お前もピカピカだな。
嬉しいの。汚かったもんね。
よかったな。うん、なんだこれ。
お菓子だ。これって
最後まで子供扱いしやがって。はいな。
うん。はーい。
シン。行こう。
This is ridiculous, honestly.
お父さんもお母さんもう帰ってこないの？
あの時俺は余裕がなかった。
ねえお兄ちゃん、どうして死んじゃったの？
お前のせいだ。違う、お前が母さんを殺したんだ。やめろ。お前のせいだ。違う、何もかも全てと母さんが死んだのも俺がこれから死ぬのも何もかも全部お前の罪だ。俺は自分の無力に対する途方もない怒りや憎悪を抱えきれずにぶつけてしまった。
Look at the drawings.
守るべきお前に。
The Skull Knight.
The logo.
Oh my god.
お前を守れなく。今度こそずっと一緒だ。今度こそずっと兄さんが守ってやる。
back to the discussion. Okay, that was 86. Season 1, episode 8.
What am I being made to watch? What is this?
Okay. That felt like, whether through the context that was given, the dialogue that was given, or the actual plot points moving forward, or the score, it felt like I watched 8 or 16 episodes in one episode.
The outro, the extra credit, extra content, the gold star at the end of the episode was like a whole other episode in itself. So conflicting.
I feel like I just wanted a scenario that could give me hope that the end would be some good, like happiness. Yeah, I am so fucking stupid. Like,
wait, you had a scenario where you were
I
hopeful?
wanted it.
Oh, you were just desiring it.
Like,
Okay.
I was hoping that, like, it was just gonna be okay. And then fucking, like, the thing that really killed it for me, that killed any fucking hope, is that, am I right in assuming that, like, Haruto and a couple others just died off screen? Like,
So at the very end of last episode, I remember we got, like, shown another battle.
I know.
But for some reason, in my head, I thought it was, like, a different group of people. Like, a different unit.
I thought the same, but the reason I felt like that was derived from some semblance of hope and, like, oh no, that wouldn't happen. Plot armor exists in some regard. No, it fucking doesn't. Jesus Christ, this is insane. This is insane. And okay, one of my this is, I think, my favorite episode in the entire series so far. I thought the directing was absolutely phenomenal. The editing was so special. But one of the most fascinating things that has happened in this entire series, I thought, was the conversation between Lena and Annette. That was heavy,
was an episode itself.
gross, extremely well written, so complex. The idea of Lena's existence in the way that it is being a constant, consistent reminder to Annette of her past and what shit she said.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking what? The neighbors are just like just, oh yeah, by the way, the neighbors are Shin and Ray, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, just gonna throw that out there. God.
We already knew, obviously, like, Annette and this conversation here at the beginning of the episode was already so built in terms of us being able to piece together. I think our feelings, or at least my feelings, about how Annette and then how later on Jerome actually feels about the situation and about the 86, I felt like I had a pretty good idea of what those feelings actually were, and that they were more so of an observer to horrific things that they knew were horrific, and they just felt like either they shouldn't get involved or they couldn't get involved.
Yeah.
For obviously reasons that we see, that it seems to the viewer, like, you always hold out hope that the impossible isn't actually impossible, and that all these people are just convincing themselves that they couldn't actually do anything about it.
Very true.
But it really is feeling like there really isn't anything that can be done about it.
I completely agree. I think that in just watching a lot, consuming so many forms of media that have this, like, hopeless nature that there shouldn't be any chance in hell, like, be shattered and crumbled by anime or fiction, like, I feel like I woke up after this episode. I feel like I'm like, wow, fuck, yep, okay, this is like the mental gymnastics and mental anguish that truly exists within characters even like Annette, right? I wasn't sure how deep it went after just having Annette be this character that we're seeing every episode, but in, like, desserts, fiancés, like, all these distractions, right? But to really break it down with Jerome and Annette and really get to the core of, like, yup, and this is for everybody, and then only a select few know, and the other people are too oblivious, and just give it a matter of time. They never existed in the first place. Like, it's like, holy shit.
And, like, Annette's kind of break here we can totally see all of the scenes prior where she's like, Lena, stop. Lena, just don't. Don't go there. Don't be thinking like this. Don't be talking like this. Just enjoy this cute dessert I made you and talk to me because you're my best friend about best friend things. And, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. Like, Annette always ended conversations off as, like, kind of with a reminder of, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it, and we'll only regret it if we get too involved.
And now it's like I'm revisiting all of them in
now,
my head.
Now it's to the break of being like, all of that time, she was just, like, building and building before a burst.
Don't you, like, imagine her inner self just wide-eyed staring at Lena, like, while she keeps talking and she, like, twitches like she's about to fucking snap?
And I think that this says a lot about how Lena's character is being written. And I think Lena's character is being written as the naive protagonist, someone who has, as Jerome has painted for us, these really lofty ideals and goals, but she doesn't actually, like, know how to put into motion the things that she believes in. And if anything, her ideas of these ideals are not exactly what they seem. Yeah. And that she's also kind of oblivious or naive to the nature or the desire that other people would then want to do something about it. It's like she keeps thinking, oh, if I say one more thing or if I bring one more fact to the table, everyone's hearts will be swayed.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do this. And to have a character that is so, like, you want to, as a viewer, protect and keep in this bubble because you're aware of how kind of pure their feelings are. We also get reminded of why it was so much of something that was gross to the 86 when they first started interacting with her. Like, this saint complex. This, like, person, this obliviousness that she has almost feels like it's double tramping on them.
Yeah, and, like, from a writing standpoint, holy shit, this is so good and so interesting. This is, like, it's so fucking good. Like, it's such a great narrative to go through, to go forward with Lena. Like, I truthfully feel like it could just be me being a dumbass, but, like, first 2 episodes, I'm like, okay, but Lena's gonna empower somebody with her words and enact some change. But I'm so fucking glad that this episode did what they did in the direction they took it in terms of, like, I think Jerome had a line to Lena that was along the lines of, like, do you think that, like, you're going to, like, how you were saying, sway or change somebody's opinion or inspire? Like, it's not, like, fucking wake up. Like, look at the world that we're in and that you're, the lack of control that you're
the afterthought as well.
Yeah.
Jerome opened up the afterthought for us, which is the actual, like, this is more than just a handful of people. This is a republic of people. This is politics. This is a place within an entire world of other places and other people. Like, we're talking about people as a governing body trying to handle not only how they are perceived by the outside world, but also trying to handle and make sure the sanity of their people is protected, that their people feel safe and good and like they're good people. Because if we start to have everyone feeling in the breaking point that Annette, because that's what would happen. Yep. Like, we don't want, well, technically we would want, because then maybe change would happen, but the governing bodies don't want every single person to be having a breaking point like Annette is in this episode, where they realize how much that they've just let happen, and then now they're also not getting to reap any rewards of it, and the whole world looks at them like these massive villains. But then it's like, oh, but I didn't do it, it was the governing body. Oh, but you didn't stop it. Like, the turmoil that all of the people within your republic would be going through if being seen as these oppressors. Yeah. And how they would view themselves, right or not. Like, it's like this country is barely hanging on by threads in terms of, like, sanity.
I want to read a couple of these lines from Jerome. This, like, I love this episode. I love the show. It's a country full of fools and villains who executed Saint Magnolia for the sake of their own wealth and greed. What can you expect from them? Humans were not ready to have freedom and equality.
It takes me back to him pointing out the flag to her. This flag that represents the Republic, but he almost kind of stomps on it when he has her relay what each like color on the flag resembles. He's kind of like, yeah, but do we do any of that fucking shit? No.
Hope and despair are the same thing. You want something and you can't have it. Jesus Christ.
The fact that their statue is a saint character that was stomped on basically and taken advantage of and killed by this group of people who then parade them as their logo, as their like oh my god, it takes you to the first episode. Remember how I brought up how weird it was that the fountain and statue was being disrespected within the army headquarters?
Yeah.
There was like trash within the fountain water.
God, it's so fucking thematic, man. So what do you think? Okay. Around 17 minutes and 25 seconds,
Okay,
we're getting
yes.
Shin putting the fucking
It's like a pig.
God damn it, into the drawer. I couldn't make out what it was the first time, but it looks like it's next to a book as well. Fuck. Do you think that Nah, I was going to say do you think that Lena's going to be the next one opening this drawer, but no. Jesus Christ,
in terms
man.
of like what Lena's gonna do going forward, obviously we've brought up how this character is being put in this very intense situation. This is like, we as viewers are being put in a true dystopia here. Like, this is like true dystopia. Our protagonists are just getting deeper and deeper into the travesty that is the world around them and their place in that world and having no real power.
Yeah.
And just the fact that so many people are letting horrible things happen to other people. This is so just like, I've read a lot of dystopian literature, and I gotta say, it's one of my favorite genres, but it is also one of my least favorite genres from an emotional perspective. Like, I love reading it because, like, the story writing is always just so crazy and interesting, and I never can truly wrap my head around it. But dystopians and utopians are supposed to be, they're exaggerations of things that already exist in our world. And that is why they can be so hard to read, because it's almost like you're looking in a future mirror. You're looking at something that could come to pass if things in your current world just got worse. And no one did anything to stop it.
I know, and it sucks because then you revisit the line of Jerome, hope and despair are the same thing, and you're like, fuck, yeah. Like, God, fuck.
Stuff like this can just so get, like, for me as a viewer, dystopian themes just get so under my skin. Because it's like, I feel like I'm empathetic. So
do you think that it's the age we are or the time that we're in that the veil of hope is so thin?
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
That's
a good question, actually. When was the first time that you read something that was so dystopian?
That I read something
or
so dystopian, or like saw the
was
parallels.
Was a fan of and saw parallels.
Man, I don't know where I was, how old I was, or what the movie or show was, but I'm pretty sure it was a movie. It might have been when I was like 13, and I think that it vaguely, like, maybe I've dreamt it. Maybe it's not a real thing, but I remembered like scenes of like people in like an attic. Maybe they were kids or something, and then they had to infiltrate this like big, more government polishy, everything's clean facility, and one of them did. I have no fucking clue. It is so vivid to me though when you ask that question. So I have a horrible answer, but whatever that was, I was like, fuck.
I know we both read and watched The Hunger Games. Obviously, that's a perfect example of dystopian. When I was in college, in my freshman year, I took dystopian literature as a course. And obviously, within that course, the whole point of it was to point out and unveil the factors in each of those books or plays that were pointing to things in real life.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the biggest things I read in that class that still sticks with me to this day, that has since been made into a show, which I did not watch because I read the book and I was like, I can't handle doing this again.
Okay.
And that is The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
I was like, I read the book. I can put that over there. I don't need to go back in there. I don't know if I can emotionally handle opening that door again.
The movie could have been Equilibrium that I was thinking of, but I'm not too sure. I haven't read The Handmaid's Tale.
Maybe someday you will.
Maybe.
But like, I don't know.
Just hearing you say it.
What's happening here? I really like your question of, is it the age that we're at that almost the veil is higher up and we can see more things clearer and the hope is maybe more limited? Maybe. I feel very little hope in this show and in this story in terms of the lives of these people.
Yeah.
And I think I normally am, when I'm watching anime especially, even though I've seen such horrible things happen in other anime and I've seen people die and I've seen tragedies, it's almost like once you get back into it, you're in a new anime, it's a new world, it's like these horse blinders go up. And you forget that horrible things can happen to these characters until it does.
Yeah.
And so you get back into this happy little space where you're like, no one's gonna actually die. Or, oh, someone just died. Well, they were a side character, so it's okay.
No, exactly. It's like, what, like in the beginning of the discussion when I was referencing, am I a fucking idiot? Or like 2 episodes in, I'm still feeling like, oh, it's all gonna... It definitely, the movie that I was thinking of was Equilibrium. I know nothing about it. I don't know if anything I said held true, but that's the one thing that like lit up in my heart. Okay.
It was a very popular, I would say stories of this nature were very popular when we were, preteens, teenagers. Like a lot of movies were coming out, a lot of big book series.
Man, the second that not even halfway. God, this episode was wild. When
like halfway through it. Oh wait.
Not even. The kids who lived next door and their mother had a strange power. They could tell what each other felt without speaking. I almost flipped the desk over. Like I'm like, fuck off. Like, and then once Annette. Oh,
I'm so glad you didn't.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
I had drinks on the table. They would have gone everywhere. There are
electronics my dad
in
to
here.
Perfect it. How many 86 do you think died? It shares words. You can't use animals, right? And then the line after this. That's right. Human experimentation. Even though they said the 86 aren't human. Convenient, right? That's the reason.
That's the reason we had to... It's like we're getting to the real nitty gritty. Like we didn't pass this like law into motion to say they weren't human just to put them on the battlefield. We did it prior. We did it in order to be able to create further like military technology.
It feels like a 5-step plan. You know what? It's not just helping further military technology. It's going to do that as well as set up for a further disassociation with it. Like
right. This was the first step, and then it was like, and then it was what Jerome brought up. That was like, shoot, if they live, they're going to be able to tell people.
Yep.
So then we send them to camps. And then we send them off on death missions.
And it's like...
And we have them all die.
Also...
Perfect.
What this episode gave me more than any other episode is like when Shin is on the call with Lena after the realization of what Shin's after comes to fruition. When Shin's like, don't step on like my ideals or my goals.
Yeah, what was the word he used?
It was so...
It started with a D, I think.
Fucking good.
It wasn't like defame.
Please don't contact us again. Go past.
It was at the very beginning. It was like one of the first kind of things that was said.
I don't disparage that. I feel for it too, because like within the world they're living, if they find some fucking comfort or solace in a way of fucking...
Give it to them, yeah. But then again, like...
I know.
So, like, we are honestly, Lena is such a well-written protagonist to follow, because as a viewer, I'm in this place where I'm like, shit, what she's doing is both disrespectful and good. Because it's like, what she's doing is she desires to let them know that she cares about them, and she desires to help them, and she desires to save them. But what she's doing is also possibly disparaging things that they've already built it up within themselves, and or making them feel more conflicting emotions that they don't need to be feeling right now because they're literally on a death mission. Like, she's making things harder for so many people, but that's exactly what needs to happen for change to happen, is that you need to make the lives of those that are sitting back hard.
Yeah. Man, I feel like this is the only show, this is the only episode that could hit so hard I can leave the whole they had a strange power like at the door. Like, typically I'm like over analyzing, theorizing over like what lore reason or what could have motivated a strange power. Did somebody set that into motion? No, fuck all. I don't give a shit. Like, this is crazy. This is fucking hard, man. This is... God, hang yourself tonight before you die tomorrow. What a fucking, like... like, Jesus.
You know what this is? You know what it reminds me of? This line to Raiden? It reminds me of... He's basically giving Raiden here, like, a choice. Like, do it now or come with me and do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of Annette's line about her father, that he was wanting support from her, but instead she gave him a way out. And here it's like both of these ideas were bad and unsafe. Like, in Annette's case, her father probably would have gotten into serious trouble for harboring, and not any good would have actually come from harboring Shin's family.
Yeah.
But on the other end, she was able to give him this, like, oh, well, my daughter's not okay with it, so I can maybe feel a little bit of peace knowing I wasn't the one that made this decision, but still something bad happened to them. And in this case, we have two scenarios, die tonight or die tomorrow, both bad, but obviously one is better than the other because you're going and doing it on your terms, like with people you care about, and maybe helping one of their missions come to fruition.
Yeah. Just for a second, I want to talk about that last scene with Rei and Shin.
Okay. Well, of course.
I'm going to preface this with, this is going to sound weird, but they depicted that scene so well. Like, it felt so raw and gross and like traumatic.
Yeah.
And serious, and I'm glad that they were able to portray it in such that nature of realism. And they let you see the break of Rei, and I think that was absolutely needed in the exact way that they did it. Jesus fuck, like that. I feel like I'm gonna rewatch that scene 3-4 times before the start of next episode because of just him reaching up like he's you would assume strangling Shin, but then the holding comes through and then goes back to the strength. Like, everything was so perfect.
You were right about the scar. I feel like I was just so in my mind that, like, a scar would have come from, like, maybe a more piercing wound. And then also I was operating with something that I think is really important to bring up here, which is that Shin had told Lena that he thought his power of being able to hear these voices probably came from the fact that he probably died or was already dead.
Yeah.
So I took that as there had been a possible decapitation, actually, or almost decapitation at some point. And I just thought the strangling thing might just relate to it emotionally and be a parallel. But from the bruising that was on his neck and actually getting to see this whole scene, I am not so sure about that anymore. But I did think to bring up that line of, like, how Shin phrased this ability to Lena when we learn about it as a superpower that the family had in this episode.
I mean, I'm sure that you want to do nothing to like glorify what this power was. You'd almost want to suppress that it was a power in the first place and just be like, oh yep, we created this, we did it, we did it ourselves. No, like nobody even existed who had a power, you know. I also wanted to bring up the letter that we had, letter's a strong word, of alerting the death that Ray is holding. I almost feel like if this was the same letter was given out to anybody in our present timeline, it wouldn't even say the word casualty. Like, it says casualty notice and then no name, right? Just identification, EO 22-23077, destroyed. I feel like with this fucked up society, casualty's even too humane of a term to use.
Right, that takes you back to like the first episode where they're like, no human casualties.
Yeah.
Like the reporter on the TV. Was that your last thing that you wanted to talk about?
The last thing I will say is I was completely fucked by the rollout of Ray and the glitchy.
Yeah.
Like, that completely fucking ruined me.
I know.
Okay, go on.
It did. So I would like to go back to a specific scene.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I came out of it with the proper understanding. I think it was around like 11 minutes in. It was when Shin and Lena were talking on the parade when she was in her room, and he tells her to go to the okay. Can we stop right here?
Yeah, I want to see if there's anything that prefaces it.
Please don't contact us again.
Lena falls to the ground.
Go past the eastern border, and you'll no longer hear the Legion's voices. If anyone's left alive, help may come there. When a shepherd dies, it throws the Legion into chaos for a while. We can buy you that much time.
Yeah.
So that is what I want to talk about, is that I think that he goes on to tell her to survive after this. So the picture is, am I right to think that what he's painting is this battle is going to spell like horrific things for the people within the walls, the Alpha.
Yeah. And like,
and he's trying to protect her here. And
if he can at least take down Ray, that would buy her enough time to make it to a significant enough place where she could at least be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a wild concept to have, because like, even though we've been shown, like in my mind, it feels so far away, like in terms of the action from where we are.
So what is she going to do here? That question, it's going to be super open-ended, because obviously towards the end of the episode, I was like, oh, when we walk out and the rain is cleared, is Lena going to just magically be there being like, I'm going with you guys? That didn't happen. And then we get the after credit ending, and all of them are lined up facing each other, and Lena's not there. So like, I have no clue. I'm not even going to start to speculate what Lena's moves are here.
If you would have asked me halfway through the episode, I'd be like, maybe parallel to her dad, she gets a helicopter, is able to give orders and help from above. Now I have no fucking idea. I have no clue. I have no idea. Because then what do you do if you don't do what Shin does and things don't go perfectly? Are you doing a detriment to his wish?
Right. Oh, but don't disparage this for us. I really don't know what the story is actually trying to do. This is only the 8th episode.
How many episodes are in it?
I have think it's a longer thing. I think it's in the 20s.
What?
I think so.
It feels
I could
like
be
it's
totally
10
wrong, but
or
I
12.
think that exactly, and that's why I'm trying to say, like, I don't know what this is trying to paint, because it could possibly be painting all of these people die, and this informs the person that Lena grows up into, and how she maybe then tries to do it through politics, like through actually like becoming a voice for the people and really enacting change within the Republic. Like, maybe she realizes a way that she can try to fix things, or because she can't, like Shin said, don't disparage, like, don't do anything on this decision that we've made for our lives that are probably going to end. We can't just not go on this mission. Also, my brother's going to be there.
Yeah.
So an idea that they all do die here, what would you do then going forward with the story?
I think you have
I think that it would be like a Lena in the future thing, maybe.
I could see that. I thought of another thing I just wanted to say really quick. Don't want you to hear my older brother's last words, and seeing what we did, it's gonna be super fucking fascinating when those
And
happen.
emotionally traumatizing
Yep.
for the viewer. Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's all I have, you. Thank you
That's
guys
it.
so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.